sure we know the political message that we need to say. Now, can you hear me over at the back there? Over the back, all right? Okay? Because there's some space at the front that people need to move in. I'm delighted now to introduce another speaker who we've heard from before, but doesn't diminish her own courage in speaking forward. Dr. Jameela is a doctor. And doctors in this country have been under particular pressure not to say anything. And yet, doctors and health workers in Gaza have been targeted and bombed and their families shot and deterred and their workplaces taken out. And we should stand in solidarity with the health workers both in this country and in Gaza. My great privilege to introduce Jameela.
Salams and peace to you all. For those who don't know me, I'm a medical doctor and humanitarian relief worker. I've been to Gaza and to war zones like Syria and Yemen to deliver emergency medical and humanitarian aid. Friends, we are now on day 119 and 75 years of the most widely broadcast genocide in history. A genocide that's been enabled by an international community who measure profit and power over people. A genocide that's rooted in a hateful ideology taught from birth that weaponizes religion to justify land grab and the killing of innocent civilians. Zionism is the ideology that compares Palestinians to the biblical Amalek, quoted by Netanyahu himself, that justifies Israeli soldiers to target practice on men, pregnant women, children, the elderly and their youth, killing with impunity for decades now, not just the last 4 months. Zionism is justifying the blowing up of Palestinian homes by fanatical soldiers who dedicate demolitions to their own families. Zionism is fueling Israeli settlers to stop aid trucks from getting in at Karam Shalom crossing. That would alleviate at least some of the suffering of the families that are suffering from famine that Israel has created. They don't care about the 2.2 million people starving next door. Zionism is the tool by which corporations have enabled the genocide by bankrolling the arms and people who have the power to stop this madness. For far too long, people have been disillusioned by the wool that Israel tries to pull over the international community's eyes. For far too long, Zionists have tried to conflate Judaism and its teachings with its own secular narrative. Ask our Jewish friends marching today about what Judaism stands for, our brothers and sisters in faith who are here with love. Ask any practicing Jew, Christian, Muslim, or any other major faith about the fundamentals of their religion. They're all underpinned by justice, preservation of life, humanity and peace for all. After all, it's the same one author, just different editions of our books. I wish to take a moment to acknowledge our Jewish, Christian and other faith or no faith protesters here again today. We see you. We see the humanity you bring to the right side of humanity, and history will remember you. As the late Joe Cox once said, there's more that unites us than divides us. Yet Zionism has come to show us over time how divisive it actually is, how sinister its plans for expansion have been, that it is a secular ideology of extremes, that Netanyahu, his government and all who follow him are superior to everyone else, that they can flout international law, that they can bomb hospitals, that they can arrest and imprison children for years, that they can kill anyone with impunity. What is left to say that hasn't already been said? There are no words left to describe the horrors that the Palestinian people are facing and those families facing the full hate of the Zionist entity. No vocabulary that can encompass the apocalyptic horrors of genocide that we're scrolling on our phone screens. As Hala said, Zionism has become a monster that Western global powers helped create and now can no longer control. It's unbelievable in the 21st century that humans have to protest the indiscriminate and systematic killing of other humans. Every time I've stood at this podium, I've had to adjust the numbers killed and injured by thousands. Over 27,000 civilians have been murdered and nearly 70,000 wounded, many with life-changing injuries and those that lie undiscovered under the rubble, unaccounted for. Even by conservative estimates, that's 1.5% of the 2.2 million. If we contextualize that for the UK, it's the equivalent of over 1 million people in the UK being killed. All of us would either have a family member killed or know someone that has been killed. Despite these grim statistics, Palestinians are a people that teach us dignity. They teach us life. Even though much of Gaza stands wiped of its color, its culture, its vibrancy, its laughter and happiness, Palestinians are still teaching us about life, about survival, about hope, about resilience, about courage in the face of ultimate apartheid and hatred, about determination and justice, about their tawakkul, their unwavering reliance and faith in their Creator alone. There's no debate about that for people of conscience. And those who have eyes that can see and a heart that can feel, can see the immense hardship that their fellow humans are going through as I speak. Palestinians taught us that none of the world is free except for Palestinians. Every so-called free country seems bound by Israel. The healthcare infrastructure in Gaza has collapsed. Our medical colleagues are working with whatever they have at their disposal, performing surgeries, amputations, cesarean sections without anesthesia. Patients are still dying on the floors in the hospitals. Never in the history of conflicts have we ever seen so many children take their last breaths broadcast to millions around the world without action being taken. This genocide has changed the world. If today we do not stand with the Palestinians, if we do not stand against the oppressor and its hateful Zionist ideology, we send a message to all oppressors that killing for power and land is justified. Then, my friends, we should start worrying about the world that our children and our grandchildren are coming into tomorrow. Now is the time for stepping up and ensuring we don't abandon the cause. Today it's Palestine. Tomorrow, if these war crimes go unchecked, none of us are safe. It's naive to think we'll always live in a comfort zone. Violence leads to violence. There cannot be a military solution to this. Erasing Palestine is not an option. Israel and Zionism is now on shaky ground. Record numbers of Israelis are leaving their country and it's on the brink of recession. It's unrealistic that Western countries continue to fund wars when many in their own countries are suffering from crippling poverty. And ignorance is no longer an excuse. Zionism has finally been exposed and laid bare for millions to see how it has evolved around ethnic cleansing, murder and lies. Make no mistake, our efforts here and elsewhere are making a difference. Your micro actions are making a difference. They're turning the tide to bring big changes. If today the ICJ records the plausible genocide that Israel has committed, then we must keep fighting until we see the day after. This is the beginning of the end of Zionism. Zionists are spending billions on propaganda for you and me not to show up for the Palestinians. The people's power is showing the world. It's reaching Palestinians that we will not be silent. That we will stand for justice on the right side of history. You showing up is making a difference. You signing that petition is making a difference. You choosing where to spend that money is making a difference. Your boycott, your like, your share of Palestinian content is changing the tide in public opinion. You sharing war crimes on social media is bearing witness and making a difference. We must continue organizing, continue making noise, continue keeping this matter in the wider public eye, even in the face of suppression by our leaders and mainstream media. And we must continue to amplify voices like Hala's, authentic Palestinians, the voices of the land. We must keep demanding unimpeded access to Gaza so we can deliver the life-saving response civilians need as long as this goes on. The cold winter days are already causing more misery in the lack of water, deliberately targeted by the Israelis. Over 700,000 cases of infectious disease has already been recorded. Hundreds of thousands more will die without appropriate humanitarian aid. Our team in Gaza are implementing toilets, providing hot food and clean water inside Gaza, as well as pushing trucks to enter. Find out more how you can support at palestinesupport.com, or you can follow on Instagram at Dr. Jameela. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Don't become tired or despondent. Palestinians can't afford for us to lose hope. Even if it's a small effort, keep it up, keep it consistent. Make boycott a way of life until brands become ethical. We will never give up, because none of us are free until Palestine is free. In our millions, in our